Hello, welcome to Crow's Corner. I'm Jenny. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button, and if you like what you see, hit the like button as well. So I have these four cloche containers, and they're glass domed with cork bottoms, and I thought it would be perfect to make the four seasons, one in each. And had this sort of styrofoam moss covered rock that I thought would be good to kind of break up into pieces and use as bases for each to give them a little bit of height. So I started by cutting this up into chunks that were manageable and that would fit appropriately on top of the cork bases. The glue that I'm using today is Aleene's Tacky Glue, and as always, I will have a link in the description where you can purchase this and any other materials I use. I have an Amazon wish list that I place those on there, and if it's not found on Amazon, I will also place that link or that list in the description. I started by covering the open area that didn't have the moss with some glue, and then I had this sort of stringy, mossy looking stuff that I thought would look good for this. This is the spring one, by the way, and I just filled in all of those extra spaces with this moss. It was really forgiving and loose, and I was able to just maneuver it around and spread it out. Had to be very selective about what I wanted to put on each of these as it's such a small surface area, but I really wanted to get the essence of each season in each one of these. Some of the items I used today I purchased on Temu, and if I have a link for that, I will also post that in the description. There's a video that I made recently that you can check out if you like, that I kind of did a Temu unboxing, and these little flowers came from that. My favorite season is fall. I like spring as well, and I can manage winter, I guess. I'm not a huge summer fan. What is your favorite season? This light green moss is, I believe, a dried reindeer moss. It's kind of spongy. And this right here, I actually got this out of a miniature kit. It was sort of left over from making the kit, and I still have quite a bit of it left that I use here and there in my miniatures. And this stuff is static grass. I have some in several shades of green and brown and white. And I don't have a static grass applicator, so I just use it like I would any other substance that I'm putting on here, any other kind of moss or whatever, and I just sprinkle it on with my fingers or tweezers. So this is sort of a little cherry blossom tree twig that I'm making here, so it will have some green and bright pink and red. I think a cherry blossom tree is one of the things that I think of most when I think of the season of spring. It was tempting to put too much in each of these. I had to double check with the domes frequently to make sure it wasn't too tall or too wide. So I really did have to edit down what I wanted to put on these. And this one's summer. Again, I started with a chunk of the styrofoam rock, moss-covered rock. The super leaf here is something that I use often, and man, I have gotten my money's worth out of this thing. Again, it will be in my Amazon list link. This is some twine, and I'm going to use this to make grass. When I think of summer, I think of tall fields of grass. The grass is sort of turning yellow or gold. I think this twine is very convincing as grass. And the fields are lush with all kinds of bushes and plants and weeds, and this would make a good representation of that. Have some dried flowers, also from the Temu haul, and I chose to use yellow and white and orange, and I just thought this was kind of a sunny, summery looking color set. And this one is probably my favorite. It's fall, and even though I start with a green base, it will be covered with leaves, and I think in the end it looks really spooky and crisp and autumnal. I love these little leaves. I also got these on Amazon, and it came with different shades of green, and then it had this sort of golden and orange set as well. And I just took some dried twigs. These came with little green leaves attached to them. And I could have gotten these out of my woods, but these were on in something that I already owned, so I decided to use them. And I just covered these with the leaves. And to add a little bit of spookiness, I had some of this black dyed reindeer moss and stuck a few pieces on there. And these little seed pods, dried seed pods that are dyed orange, they are perfect for pumpkins. So it wouldn't be the fall without pumpkins, right? So I had a really dark one and then a normal sort of orange colored one that I placed on there. And I think it was the perfect addition. And I didn't really need much else except, I think, more leaves. The final season, of course, is winter. This one was really simple. I didn't want to add too many objects here, so I actually peeled away some of the green moss from the styrofoam rock just so I had a nice clean base to work with. And proceeded to cover that with some white static grass, which looked just like snow. Give it a little bit of texture, I added in these little tufts of grass, which I then covered with more snow. These little trees I actually got from Timu recently, but it's not the old Timu haul. It's a video that's going to be coming up probably next month, so you can wait to see it then. But basically, just covered them with glue and more snow. They were a little large, so I had to trim them down in places to get them to fit onto the cork base. Where I live, we have some pretty clear-cut seasons, although I would say I would prefer summer to be shorter. But do you have clear-cut seasons where you live, or is your climate a little different where you have like one season all year or two seasons throughout the year? Let me know in the comments. And that is the end of the Four Seasons. Here's a shot of them without the domes. The domes were very reflective, so they were kind of hard to shoot, but I put the domes on just to keep them protected. And thanks again so much for watching, and I'll join you in the next one.